Yo, 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 ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another mod stream where I work on Cosmonarchy. This time we're going to be working on the AI, of course, a classic. We haven't actually worked on the AI for a while, so my goal is to be able to hop into some AI editing and specifically build order editing. So that's what we'll take a look at now. I had some idea for how I would improve the build orders, and specifically how I would almost unit test the build orders. But I'm not 100% sure exactly the best method for that. My initial thought was I could iterate on like 6 at a time, but it feels like it's a bit unmanageable to keep track of that many players. So I might have to go the route of just 4 at a time by hooking up a 2-player or a 4-player map. I guess I can always do Dead Ringer for that particular purpose. I see there's some tiles I can clean up here as well. Just stuff you notice when you look at the map a million times. What's up, Balefal, Luciferius, and Reverse N? Always nice to have a Reverse N in the chat. How you doing, dude? So, yeah, what I'm going to do is set... well, I guess I can just set this for all players. And we will set the death of current player, set 1, start location. And then minimize that. I'm a witness, as you can see. That's my fucking character. All right, so the first thing is to take a screenshot of this so that I can keep track of that, since I can't find that information anywhere else. So I believe that's in reverse order. So player 1, I guess this is like a maroon color. Yeah, maroon. So the maroon Terrans are 3 rocks M&M in the Raider personality. We've got these Protoss, which are the Mint Protoss. These guys are going to be Skylord Fast Expand Land Effect. So that's going to be an interesting one. I haven't looked at that in a while. And then the yellow Terrans are just yellow, plain yellow. That's going to be Shadow Royal Flush, which is kind of interesting. And then we have some more Protoss over here, which is Cosmic Cobalt. These guys are also the same build, actually. Fast Expand Land Effect. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on there. I noticed some fuckery with Protoss builds since their overhaul. And indeed, the Fast Expand seems to be very fast to the point where they don't actually seem to have that much money. The expansion call clearly comes way too fast. So we don't have unlimited pauses. I can actually make a single-player version where I could just pause at will. But the first thing that I'm going to do is navigate to the Fast Expand LAN Effect. I guess it's FE LAN Effect or something. Yeah, there we go. And we are going to find the code. Yeah. So their literal first structure request is that's ambitious. It's like after their first 2 structures. I wonder why they're getting gas at all. I guess it's because they want Stargates. But in my mind, you would just have the expansion. And so we would probably wait something like 900 and then build 1 aquifer and then wait like it's 450 for a single for getting 100 gas or no, it's 450 for the aquifer itself. Build time. So we could do wait 300, wait 150 or I guess another 450 on top of that would probably give us enough time to get a Stargate's worth of gas. And then that just means we can accelerate the rest of that. So we can accelerate the second Stargate call now. Static defense call. And then I don't know why we would queue a LAN effect. That's probably never useful, actually. Okay. Yeah, that should be a pretty good improvement to that build. Let's check these guys out. So the shadow builds are always a little weird. The Royal Flush in particular is... let me see if I can go find this. Obviously a hint that they would be preferring blackjacks over anything. But pretty much all they do is request a large number of scrap yards. They do get an engineering bay. They get a factory. They get like a nice mix of units, essentially. But they don't... The shadow builds in general have a really tough time... I guess Terran in general has a bit of a tough time actually maintaining... like, getting their add-ons together, basically. And I wonder if shadow... So if I go to add prod... Terran... See, I do have the code here for... Oh, only if they prefer it, because I never made explicit calls. So that would be why. I guess you would do Tinker's Tower first. Yeah, okay. So it would be in this order, basically. Interesting. The preferences actually should be there. If I go to... It's like pref cycle or something. It's only after 10 minutes, but if I go to pref add-on shadow... I'm kind of confused as to why these have to be exact call. Oh, it's because it's checking to make sure that there is no explicit call for the... Like, the map maker didn't put an explicit call in, so that's why that's there. So if there's no explicit calls for that, then it calls add-on shadow standard. It should set that to 1. It should set this to 0. Okay, I guess that might be why I was getting confused or whatever. So at least that should help them scale up a little bit more. I tab back in here. The Nexuses are down for those players. Expansions are coming down for both Terran players. I meant to go fix this stupid town center placement. So that's done now. That'll be fixed in the next attempt. These are correct? In the correct spot? No, this guy needs to be to the left as well. All right, that should be everything. Yeah, so it'll be nice to smooth out some of these issues. And I feel like unit testing in this sense is probably fine. If I'm ever in a situation where... I mean, I guess I could actually... So I can't save this map because it's in use right now. I could actually make the single-player version of this so that I could test these a little bit easier. But I was thinking, like... Yeah, this build is definitely fucked just because... Like, look, they still don't have a production structure because they're so behind in resources or whatever. I think these guys also don't have a production structure. They got a cannon, but they built tech out of order. So this is the kind of thing that obviously needs to be cleaned up. And it's mostly because that early expansion call, like, threw them off, so... it was just not tested very well when I initially made it, and it doesn't help that the overhaul... It's like it further exposed and exacerbated by the overhaul, so that's definitely something that needs to be fixed up. Okay. So yeah, obviously, predictably, that guy just got run over. I think this shadow build is probably fine. Maybe it expands a bit too late. But the shadow builds were never really that problematic in the early game. It was more about how the shadow personality as a whole failed to progress upward in the tech tree and failed to utilize the late game stuff. I don't expect that to change here. On this other hand, The 3 racks M&M build seems to be working fine. They've got their tier 2 access with the NG Bay. They're getting captaincies. They've got double med bay, which is what they were always intended to get, and then their backup barracks has a covert ops. So ever since I fixed up the way that the add-on handling worked, it just made a lot more sense. Here you can see, finally, after 6 minutes, they've managed to... they apparently staved off the assault with just a couple of photon cannons. They did lose the expansion. But they finally decided, hey, maybe I should get a production structure. So that's funny. And of course, it's not even an Argosy, so they can't even use their most expensive tech. They've gotten the tech for, like, the most expensive stuff. It's pretty hilarious. Meanwhile, this will probably also do nothing. These guys are finally getting production as well. Yeah, when your first production structure is at the natural and it's 6.5 minutes in or whatever, that's pretty bad. I think we've done our due diligence here. So we'll close that out and we will post our changes into the AI. What's up, Alexander? Alexander's been doing some concept art for some units that are not yet implemented into the game. Pretty I certainly appreciate the time you're spending on it, dude, but I also have to say in general it's pretty exciting to see some of those ideas that I've just had in my head finally be put on paper, and then theoretically would be able to make a model out of it for whoever wanted to take up that charge. But I imagine it'll be an interesting process of sculpting out something to... The one that you're doing in particular is like, it's probably pretty complex. So I'll be very excited to see the concept evolve into something that can be used for that. So. No, Bale, I guess you must have missed it earlier, but I was saying that basically the timing of the requests came in at such a point where it was destabilized because they got an expansion request at the same, like very early on. It was the same build for both players, for both Protoss players. And they had an expansion request that came in at the very beginning, but the script didn't take into account the timing. So they basically just got desynced from there. In that sense, they didn't work out very well. So that's been resolved for that particular build anyway. It's a little bit more disastrous when with the AI in general, because they obviously have this problem where when you tell them to expand somewhere, that's when their worker gets immobilized. So then they lose out on even more mining, which is pretty annoying. All right, let me first of all save this map. I'll save this map as a test version. I can delete that. We'll call this Dead Ringer AI. And I can close this and reopen the old Dead Ringer and then delete the all players trigger because I obviously don't need that to be there. And then I can open up the AI map and set the race to, or the owner to computer for the opening 4 players. And then I should be able to play it in single player where I can pause as many times as I need to or want to. That's interesting. Why would that not work? What the fuck? Well, it opens fine. I'm not really sure why it would just fail to start. Yeah, it's definitely been useful even just for me. But it can be used as like a reference for an actual model. And it's a lot easier than like... I remember I was trying to explain what I wanted the face to be like, and I had to like look up a reference image and then like say, oh yeah, but it would be like this, but everything like in this area would be changed, and this is what the thing would look like and all that shit. So basically I had to like translate, I had to use an existing reference image as a proxy for translating the concept into words that could be easily understood. And that partially is because I'm not necessarily the best at explaining artistic concepts, but it's a lot easier when there's art that does the concept talking and communication for you, which is what you're doing, which then allows a modeler to step in and say, oh, I actually see what I'm supposed to be making here. So like the accuracy to the original idea is a lot higher in that sense. So yeah, I am wondering why the map is not playable in single player. Can I play it in multiplayer? It's fine in multiplayer, but for some reason it's not startable in single player. All right, this is where I need to paste this in. So we have Ranger 1 Gate Expo. Okay, that's another fast expanding Protoss build. We have 3-hatch Matroleth, which is a general Zerg build. We have Armor 5 Fact, fast expand 5 Fact. Pretty powerful Terran build. I don't think there were any issues with that one. And then there's Unholy Trinity Shadow build for the bottom left-hand player. So that'll be something. Hi, James. I'm pretty sure that guy's like going blind or something, so. There's there was an attempt here to increase the priority of Droleth requests ever so slightly so that the AI would more actively train them. However, it does look like something that Veek had commented on is still happening, where the AI is like overindulging on gas very early on. And I'm wondering if that's at all fixable. Also, obviously the timing of this build is fucking stupid. This is, admittedly, this base does, like, this natural is a bit far away from the player, but let's take a look at this build. He's not got much. That'll get converted eventually, but like he's got double gas when he definitely doesn't need it. So I'm thinking maybe the way around this is if I go into the weight gas block, right? It does say I control like weight build gas, but then it goes into the gas requirement thing, and I feel like this should probably be waiting until the build is done, and then if I want, yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it. So we'll do ex weight build done 113. I think just adding that will fix the issue of them like overindulging on requests in that sense. It'll also increase the accuracy because sometimes if the gas hasn't been purchased, if you haven't actually staffed the gas, then an issue will crop up where it's above 5,000 resources because it's had time to regenerate, which then obviously it's 6,000 here is the cutoff point. But I can't just read how many resource nodes there are of a particular type in using ASC3. We really need a command for that because then I would actually only explicitly request additional gas structures if there were more geysers. I guess really the default way that the AI should handle it is by automatically requesting gas structures based on how many there are, like to request in the first place. I don't know why it doesn't. I don't know why it's like that, or why it isn't like that. Pretty dumb. So interestingly enough, this build is called Fast Expand 5 Fact. What's up, Terran Dominion? Thanks for your crash report earlier. This build is called Fast Expand 5 Fact, and if I look for 5 Fact, I can't find it. It's build to mech. So build order mech. It's of course armor. Not mech anymore. Oops. What build was it? Build 2, which is mech fast expand. And in mech fast expand, why did I think? Oh, it is still called mech 5 fact, but that's just like a wrong. I renamed some of them, but I didn't rename them everywhere. So sometimes there will be issues like that. I noticed that with the assault builds for Zerg were all incorrectly named. So I'm just wondering what's up with the expansion attempts. He's finally done it now, but it's not exactly a fast one. And it's like this build is actually fine. I'm looking at it and oh, this is interesting. Oh, it just wasn't done, I guess. I don't know. I might have to rewind the fucking stream for that one. But yeah, like I'm noticing this guy has a couple of factories. He's even got tier 2. This is a time to either like the time to expand was either before tier 2 or after a little bit longer of tier 2 one base, in my opinion. It doesn't really make sense to expand now of all times. Anyway, I wanted to take another look at the Droleth counts. 5 minutes in, this is pretty miserable, actually. He's got a lot of larvae. He doesn't have a lot of money. And it looks like he's got a hatchery request that is at the top of the food chain, which should be superseded by the... is almost certainly superseded by the Droleth requests. But he's also getting a third base, which is probably another reason why he doesn't have that much money. I think in such a case like this, the issue is probably it's not a lack of larvae. You saw he had a decent amount of larvae. The issue is just a lack of time between the requests. So in such a case, I can experiment. Oh yeah, I guess Baelth also points out another point is that obviously like the gas thing slows him down in the early game, which probably further destabilizes it. However, I would say like in such a case like this, I can probably experiment just by slowing down the build so that the future requests come in a little bit later. So for something like this, which is okay, it's just build order general is what I'm looking for, and it's obviously in Zerg. So I just have to rename these. There you go. So we have build order gen, and in gen it is hydroxymatravil. So in this case, I would say like they get gas very early on, and then obviously it says build gas, which is what caused the issue before. Realistically speaking, we probably don't even need to do that. The gas before the expansion is useful because they need the hydrox den. But because of the double gas, due to the old faulty build gas code, it was causing the issue that was making the hydrox den request come in way too soon. So, in general, what I think I can do here is I can just add another weight 150 and then reduce the weight over here because this is when they are able to build workers again. So I don't want that to be delayed. But adding a slight delay before the hydrox den request, I think makes sense here because I want to guarantee that they get that expansion down and that they start their larval colony production and all that stuff. So just that small touch on this build should probably get us to the promised land for here, I think. I can also increase the weight a little bit after their third expansion, or their second expansion, their third base, before the Quasark pool request comes in. And then well, actually, I don't even know if I'll do that. I think I'll just increase the delay slightly before they start queuing additional units. And yeah, I guess we'll just see where that goes before we worry about anything else. Tab back in to see what's going on. We do have some shadow units over here. I guess this will be a nice test to see if these guys end up actually... if we bother to wait around long enough for science facility tech, it'll be a nice test to see what's going on there. This guy has managed to stabilize his base. Oh yeah, that was another thing. I wanted to take a look at like reevaluating the fast expand point. So I think the best thing here is probably to, because you'll notice it only gives you like it gives you a very small amount of time after the add-on requests come through to go and expand. And I think it's fine to do the add-on requests. But it needs to be waiting for a longer period of time, I think. So maybe just doubling the delay before it gets there would be sufficient. I'm not sure. And then this is where it can get extra gases if applicable. And, well, no, this actually isn't where it can get extra gases if applicable. That's kind of a tough problem. I guess instead of build done, we can have another variable. Hold on. Gas. Let's pause where we are right now because I want to take a look at that stuff again later. So this is where I would say we can do another build gas all. We can have another variable here. And let's just do this for everybody. And now we'll do we'll just add it in here so that it's another variable that gets set in build bool, which is called at the end of the build. And then in specific builds, I can expressly call that stuff. So we can go back to build order armor, and we can find our what was it? Is it just called mech fast expand probably? I guess I should change build mech to build armor. And this isn't really a fast expand build if I'm pushing it down, but I guess we can say like we'll worry about renaming it later. I think this will be fairly effective, and this is where let's see, build gas gets converted to build gas all. And I can just do that because that was the original idea. So there you go. Oh, I didn't actually pause it because I'm still in multiplayer. I forgot. Owned. Well, we still haven't fully fixed anything or fully seen like a resolution to this area. Worker counts seem pretty healthy. And unit counts seem okay as well. Usually those two go hand in hand. I would say maybe we could have more units for this Zerg player. I'm not actually sure what's holding him back now. This might be a case where, yeah, he's got a ton of money floating, but it looks like he's hitched on some... He's got all 6 hatcheries that he's requested here. He's got the 2 excisants. He's got... He wants a Gorgrel Swamp, which he hasn't gotten, which is really strange because he definitely has the... He has everything he would need for it. The Hydroct End mutates into it, so... That's probably what's hitching him up. That seems to be the only thing that he's got that's like outstanding as far as a request goes. Like all 4, he's over spamming Drolets again. I would like to figure out what internal logic is telling the AI we need more Drolets. It's probably some weird lard hardcode that we're accidentally activating. Now down here, he hasn't really built that many creep colonies. He does have an explicit Nidus Canal request, which theoretically has been satisfied. I don't see... I do see a Nidus Canal request over here, so I actually don't know which town that belongs to. But... he's definitely getting blocked by something. There's like something that... the defense code will make him build units and stuff, but he's definitely getting blocked by something, and I'm not really sure what it is. Like, this town seems like he just needs more creep colonies for sure. He's got 14 requests for him. But something always, like, stops the AI from satisfying their shit for some reason. On this side, I'm still seeing future stations. There's a science facility and an ion cannon. Nanite assembly. I'm not seeing the acceleration up the tech yet. I'm seeing the Zerg AI taking both expansions, which is pretty funny. Yeah, I'm not sure if this has like shocked them into out of their fucking cardiac arrest here. They still don't have the Gorgle Swamp. I'm pretty sure I've seen AI. I must have seen AI build them because I've seen the Bactylisks and occasionally Gorgocores from it. So it's not like some weird AI specific issue where they can't build it. It's just some thing is stopping these guys from actually getting the request satisfied. Droleth is their highest priority, probably for this base. And then Skithracore. I just cleared out their requests again to reset them. They do that every now and then. Yeah, it's back to the Gorgo Swamp being the only one that's like outstanding, and they still don't have it. If I spawn one for them, I wonder what will happen. I wonder if that automatically fixes them. Oh, then they start building one of their own. Yeah, okay. I guess we can kill that then. I don't know why. That's very weird. There's not really any reason for them to delay that or like get fucked around by that. They do have the second Nidus request now. We'll see if they start satisfying their shit. I'm seeing a lot of units starting to get built. This is kind of what I mean, though, is like, it's just one request that they hang up on for some inexplicable reason. I guess they were attacking stuff anyway, but... Like, they were doing stuff while I was looking at only their base. So it's not like they were doing nothing, but the sheer number of units that just got trained up. Maybe it's coincidence and they just had started an attack or something, but it feels like to me that maybe it had something to do with the fact that I was able to unfuck their requests. Because now they're getting another... yeah, they're starting to build other tech structures. So, very perplexing. This guy's stuck underneath an egg. He's not very happy about it. When you use your ion cannon against yourself. I wonder if we can fix tanks, like, well, frozen units in general, I suppose, if they, like, if by incrementing a timer when they have a target but don't attack, haven't attacked for a while, and if it, like, gets beyond, like, 2 seconds, reset their protocol or something. Oh, wow, suddenly he's got a Gorgra core. Fuck that watchdog. Eh. Panoptis. All right, it looks like we've gotten somewhere. I still haven't seen any higher tier scrapyard add-ons, despite the changes. Oh, there's the... hey, they had... never mind. I'll eat my fucking words. They got a biotic base right there. I wonder if they'll actually use the units they're in, though. Because I've just straight up never seen the AI actually have this structure, so I don't know what they'll do about it. They've got multiple scrapyards floating, doing nothing. Because unfortunately, the AI is really dumb, and Blizzard never bothered to tell them to iterate over their lifted off structures that are frozen. So I guess we have to do that somehow. That's why you saw this barracks be fucking stuck here forever. And I guess this guy will probably die before I see any unorthodox units. But a man can dream. No, that's just a fucking blackjack. Jeez. Yeah, I'm pretty sure requests that are for some reason or another unsatisfiable hang up all the AIs. We have a recycler courtesy of Knave. The problem is that we don't really have, like... It will iterate over stuff, but it doesn't really do it in the context, like... It's not very consistent, I guess you could say. Oh, I thought for a second there was... wait, is that actually real? Ah, there is a fraud one. I thought this one was training units while floated, but there was one hiding underneath it. That's why I was... that's fucking fraudulent AI making me think that there's a bug that should not have existed. That better be an anti-Chthon. Yes! They do use them! It's dead, though. Bye. Should have been controlled by a Demiurge IMO. Okay. Because I'm always worried when there's like a new unit there that like there's some unit ID specific hardcode that stops them from ever being seen. So yeah, as you can see here, when we unfucked the AI and made them actually satisfy the Gorgorl Swamp request, they seemed to work fine. They have Vithrath Haunt now. Yeah, I guess they're a little late on tier 4 tech, but that's not really ever a requirement in this environment. I'm actually wondering where their Quasrock pool even is. I don't see it anywhere. Oh, here it is. I guess they probably have a Leveril Swamp or a Leveril Pond request. Oh, they don't. Oh, they definitely. Oh, they do. It's over here. I wonder why it's so low in priority. It should never be lower in priority than the source structure itself. That seems very strange. And here you can obviously see a lot of requests exist. Oh, is this a busted resource area? It is. I'm assuming it wasn't over here. Yeah. All right, well, I will fix that in the main map as well. I was going to say, what the fuck? It's only got one worker. He doesn't even want to build a hatchery for it. He knows what's up. Fuck that nanite assembly. I'll just kill it myself. So yeah, I don't fully understand why the yeah, I'm not fully understanding of why or how the Zerg AI didn't recycle the request correctly or whatever. So that again was 3 hatch, Hydra, Matroleth. Is that even correct? Zerg General 3 is Hydra. It's like Hydrock Matraville. Yeah. All right, so we already fixed up the gas timing and stuff. I think no, it doesn't really make any sense for why they would have an issue. Like, look at this call hierarchy. And for context, wait for Iral Iris literally is, wait, do you have an Othstal from our Lazel Arbor? If so, return immediately. And then otherwise, loop over this over and over again until you have an Iral Iris. Like, if you don't have an Iral Iris, jump back to the top and loop. So, like, I don't know. It seems like there should never be a concern about this. And then when you go back to it, they definitely got the request. So I don't even know why I went down that chain of logic. They have the request in there. It's just somehow not being satisfied, even though it's high prio. I don't know if I, for some reason, need to increase the priority of it to fix that. But there shouldn't be any reason for it to not satisfy the request. Seems very strange. I did notice that like they very, very rarely bother with layers anymore, which is unfortunate. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what could be causing that. But at least we were able to address the gas thing and fix up some other stuff. We did see evidence of the AI using the scrapyard add-ons, which is nice, even though obviously it doesn't really matter. The add-on behavior of lifting off the structure and then spinning forever is not very ideal, but one thing at a time, I suppose. That's a case where it's like so fucking insane that that's an issue still. I really don't know why it's not letting me use the human slot of the observer, of the witness player. Random human. Do I have to set the race manually? I don't know why that would ever be required. Holy shit, setting the race actually worked. Okay, that was really stupid. Well, mysteries of Lard. Alright, our top left Zerg is Congo Todd God. Our top right Protoss is 2-Gate Panoptus, so that's Swarm and Skylord. Our bottom right Zerg is Assault, 3-Hatch Hydra. And our bottom left is Shadow, Angels Above, which is like a Tinker Tower heavy scrapyard build, theoretically. We'll see how this one goes. I won't lie, the repetitive unit testing shit is kind of draining. I don't think we'll ever know why Balethal. It's just busted forever. Congo Todd got slightly ahead with its expansion tactic. Always nice. I guess Congo Todd God should probably get 3 expansions before building a Quasrock pool. I should probably revise the build. I imagine getting like just an AI that turtles as much as possible in the early game. It goes for 2, so it goes for its natural and third before, like, it gets its third as the natural is not even done morphing, and then it starts on the larval colony production. It starts on the static defense production, and goes for a 4th as it's slapping all of the static defense everywhere. And after the 4th starts, it builds its Quasrock pool. I think that's Congo Todd God. And then, of course, it just spams nonstop fucking Zethicores and Nathicores. And overwhelms you with tier 1 units. Oh, shit! Burn ends at this. I like that. Maybe that should be like, you know, I'm making these birthday maps for the birthday campaign. When I make one for myself, it should be called "Want to Become Famous." That should be the name. It's ridiculous. All right. We do have an expansion set up for our man. What a fucking spin. What a spin. Actually, we got expansions for everybody besides this fucking Sky Toss player. Instead, he's charging forward with 2 Zealots and an Aurora. And he's got 2 more Zealots that decided not to join the battle right now. They're on guard duty. Now that I've made that change, actually, this is a case where they like certain builds are definitely going to need to be updated to use the build gas all thing. So I guess I should look through for anything that would probably benefit from that. So if I go to build order, Skylord. How to replace the fucking names again. Yeah, if I go here, there's a case where when I see build gas, oh, I don't see it anywhere here. This is the fast expand line effect build. It probably just needs to be completely changed anyway. Interesting. I also don't see it over here either. This is a case where I think when it's... Oh, I imagine can static is here twice because one of this was supposed to be build gas. So I'll do that first before the gas heavy requests come in. I'm not seeing too many build gas calls at all though, which is kind of interesting. And this is like, you know, I guess it'll just get called normally. So the 2-gate Panoptis one, it'll just get called normally. So it'll have a Cenotaph request. It has the Astral Element request. It's probably already got it. Yeah, I just tabbed back in and it has the second gas, so it's definitely already got it. But it's also owning the Zerg. Bye. This is a Zerg that went fucking Hydrock then. Like, it still couldn't repost this assault. I guess it should have gotten more Skithra cores, probably. Meanwhile, Congo Todd God would like to have a word with you. Homie. Oh! Ooh, kited. Oh, bye. Kited no more. Well, I guess the main army is gone. It's where it looks a bit hyperactive. They obviously should just know that they have the advantage there and not kite backwards. No need to at that point. Although Veek said that it's a bit of a challenge to get them to realize when they have the advantage. I'm still amazed he's been able to do fucking anything with this game's kiting, so I'm just happy it exists. I'll say this much though: the idea of Congo Todd God's changes are very appealing, particularly after seeing that he's like really low on Droleths and still hasn't gotten a third. He's getting one now, but he still hasn't gotten one. Like 6 minutes in, dude, you should have 4 bases by now. Wake up. Well, I think the vulture kiting in particular is already pretty good. They just don't know how to use mines yet. I have talked with Veek about making a change for that. One thing that's obvious that should definitely have already happened is like the reason why this guy's got a spore is because he was attacked by air units, right? But he definitely should have a sunken colony somewhere as well. Like that should definitely have happened by now. I'm not 100% sure why it didn't. It looks like he prioritized tech a little bit higher. But that's something that I can probably look into messing around with. Because it's not like he has idle creep colonies, which was the case for the build that we saw in the previous game. In this case, that's not what's happened. So I don't really know what's going on there. They definitely should have focused on that. Puzzles. Owned. Exemplified. Made an example of. At least there's a defense force coming here to help out from his ally. Hasn't just left him to fucking rot. Unfortunately, they have no real silver lining here. Congo Todd God is got his third, and there's a fleet of vassals. Well, not really a fleet, but you know what I mean. That's another thing that there should be an AI that spams nonstop fucking vassals. A support AI that goes like Vassal Clarion or something. There you go. The cleanup crew arrived. Here we go. Another skirmish. I think we got a little bit more parity out of these builds. This guy's still kind of fucked up, but he's the frontline Zerg. He's kind of expected to get hit with a lot of attacks, just based on his positioning, so that doesn't surprise me. But they're starting to filter out, and they should be able to take some more map control now, although they'll lose this grab bag of units. Yeah, the rest of them are kind of scattered about. Still trying to run interference. Thankfully, this guy was able to rebuild his Droleths at the main. It's just getting this natural saturated and then holding on to it is a tough sell. Reinforcements came in from the south over here, so that guy's good. Trying to think if there's anything else. I guess the Protoss buildings, build orders could include additional structures a bit more. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention for Terran is that they definitely should have more starports in general. Like, this guy has them as part of his requests, as his explicit requests. But sort of like how forges are pretty important for Protoss and larval colonies are pretty important for Zerg, I kind of think that a similar role should be played for like at least one explicit starport request per Terran AI, because otherwise they'll never get Trojans and they'll never be able to transport units, which is obviously pretty fucking bad. Like Terrans don't have the same ease of access. Like forges give envoys for Protoss, and Zerg obviously have Avaleths by default. Terrans don't have any incidental pathways to getting that. And they can also skip Starport entirely to go into nanite assembly and get the high tier stuff as well. And that's what a lot of the builds will start doing when they hit higher breakpoints of expansions and stuff. So it's just one of those things that I need to add like an explicit request for, basically. Owned. I do like that this is actually still a back and forth. There's still some competition here. I don't know that there should be, but I guess this Protoss did overinvest into tech. Well, not overinvest, but he invested heavily into tech early on, and hasn't gotten a third for a while. His third is a bit late, and we all know Congo Todd God's. It's Congo Todd God. What do you expect? I guess I expected him to actually have the higher tier production structure, or the he's like, this is another case where I'm pretty sure, yeah, they've got the Leverel Pond, they've got they should have they have the Orboth Omlia request, they should have the Gorgrel Swamp request somewhere. There it is. Yeah. Well, this is basically what this is in a way. It's me improving everything as much as I can. It looks like Todd God over here is going to be stuck on these kinds of units for a while. I guess that kind of makes sense. It makes sense that there would be so many issues with tech progression for Zerg, insofar as like I can't figure out what's causing it yet, but it makes sense to me that it's happening because the AI is like I very rarely see high tier units come out for Zerg, and I think a big part of that is just that they're getting stuck on the requests. I can't figure out why though. Oh, there's a Lever Pond. So it can be done. Like I don't know what changed about this. I guess he just got to it eventually. It's really weird. Very very strange that it would be required at all to sort of delay there. But you can see like he doesn't have Zorkiz because he was too busy like waiting for the Leverel Pond, and now he gets the Zorkiz Shroud. Yeah, that's a bit bizarre. I guess I could increase the priority of the morph result structures even further and see what happens. We have a Nidus here to try to reinforce this maroon base. I think this is maroon. Blood, the Blood Zerg. I wonder if he's actually going to use... Oh, his ally's here. What's up, homie? Yeah, he's not actually... He's training units to send over by the looks of it. And it's in the meanwhile, he's trying to ferry... There's some Trojans, see? Terrans are in for the fucking fight. The AI should probably try to prioritize Niduses in general. I'm not sure how we can handle that without like making their build score or destroy score really high. That way, like, they would guarantee that they would take this base if they did that. At this point, it looks like they'll be whittled away unless they actually do prioritize it afterwards, which doesn't seem to be happening. So that base might actually stick around. Meanwhile, there's been a giant skirmish over here. More workers falling. Though this build is starting to get operational down there in the bottom right. And this motherfucker's taking the other island. What a man. What an epic. All right, see you later, Nidus. What an unfortunate unit. Get it off my screen. Yeah, fuck that Claymore. Oh, Zarius the left is perplexed. There you go. It's starting to move now. It's been Kelvin munitions. I like the Skither cores blowing kisses at each other. Mind Tyrant! There you go. Get those units in, homie. Oof. Workers are chasing for a little bit far for my money. Yeah, it's still a worker AI too, so. There we go. The augers are in. So the Protoss seem to use high tier units a lot better now in general, which is nice. You can see they're getting cosmic altars. They've got. I've seen a lot of Solarians comparatively now, so that's good. And this guy's only on 3 bases, so imagine what he could do if he had more. Slurp. It would be really nice if we could get the AI to use higher tier fucking units. I guess I could just try to experiment with that, see what happens. Yes. Yeah, especially since interceptors are more numerous now. Vorvold. Vorvrocht. Dude, this is an Avaleth's fucking nightmare. Just all the units. I'm still not seeing Tinker's towers. Where are the Tinker towers? Tinker, my homie. Oh, there's no science facility. That might be a problem for this build. Where is the science facility? I guess this guy's still been on 2 bases this whole game. This poor motherfucker. Does he have a science facility request? He does not appear to have one. Let me see if I can see it up here. Nope. That is why. It's my laziness catching up with me. All he did was get double requests for the add-on. Well, not double, but it just repeated that. Okay, so that's fixed as well. That explains it. All right, well. That probably means that this guy is not going to be able to compete when the high tier stuff comes out. Speaking of high tier, I wanted to keep track of what's going on here. They still haven't gotten a Gorgol Swamp, which I nearly guarantee it's... Yeah, there's the request. Do they have an Ultra Cavern request? That's what I want to know. It doesn't look like it. He's retaking the island. What a motherfucker. It looks like all these guys are assigned to some distant town. Yeah, these guys can't seem to find their way over here. It's hard to tell because of all the fucking lines, but if I follow this one... No, they're assigned... So these guys are assigned to this town, and they can't seem to find it, even though there's a Nidus actually right next to them. So, like, I think this is a case where if I spawned a unit, they would... No, they still can't calculate a path. So this is a bug with Veek's code by the looks of it. Maybe they're waiting for an Avaleth, actually. But they definitely shouldn't be, like, obviously. So I'll just take the screenshot of this and send it to Veek and tell him what's going on. Trolloths assigned to an island base. The Nidus next to them is the... That might be something that he can look into fixing later. Bouncers. Yeah, it looks like this might be all she wrote. Oh, hey, Valkyries can attack now. That's really weird. I would imagine the same way that the land effect stuff exists in vanilla. These guys are trying to use the harvest minerals order on a unit with ID none. I don't even know what the fuck that means. It's pretty impressive. Let's see, it has sprite ID 280, so maybe that can help me. That's just mineral field type 2. Did I? Maybe I was looking at the wrong ID. Let me make sure that I was. Yeah, okay, I was just looking at the wrong thing. Never mind. I saw 228 somewhere, though. Oh, 228 is order unit type, not unit. Okay, that's where it was. That's why I was confused. It was like, there's no way, like, if there was a null target, it would just be a null target. It wouldn't be fucking unit ID none, like in order queue or something. That was very confusing. Okay. All right, I am going to do a couple of quick bug test checks. That's an interesting bug. What? Oh, Goliath. Yeah, that's a good one. The other thing I wanted to look at was the... Huh. Owned, in my opinion. It looks like ships can't... I can't reproduce the LAN effect issue, and I can't reproduce the one that Stratosego just mentioned. Unfortunate. Anyway, I do think we've managed to get some pretty good updates on the AI already, which I'm quite happy about. Let's take a look at... well, first let's update the AI to fix the issues that we did find. Oh. That's going to crash the program, apparently. It's not interested in our code anymore. Figure out what the cause is of that. So that one was fine. That one's fine. That one's also fine. I must have hit some wrong hotkey somewhere. Anyway. Fix the issues there. Get our new AI into the game. All right. So I do have to use the bathroom, so I shall return momentarily. And when I come back, there will be even more AI work ahead of us as we attempt to rid it of as many bugs and stability issues, performance issues, I should say, as possible. And hopefully we can investigate that Zerg thing. That's a really weird recurring issue. So my first experiment, in my opinion, should probably be to... oh, I wanted to do the starport, so I guess I'll make a quick short list here. So Terran, explicit, starport, request in main expansion towns. What else was I going to say? I wanted to do the Zerg request priority for morphed structures. Okay, so those will be the things that I investigate when I get back. Give me a few minutes, and I'll be here in a moment. All right, now that I'm back, I can actually forgot to finish what I was doing earlier. Just got to organize some files very briefly. Nothing crazy. Oh yeah, what is this? I forget. Oh, that's know exactly what that is. Okay, let's go in and do the changes we were talking about with the AI earlier. So, T-Town. This one's going to be pretty standard. I don't think we need them in the expansions. I think just in the main town should actually be fine. And so I think after add infra, we can probably do an explicit Starport 95. That should be enough. That should be all we need. We don't need any add-ons. We don't need anything else. It's just, if they already have a Starport request, this isn't going to do anything. If they don't, it'll do something, and then they'll be able to get transports. That should be fine. It looks like the priority for the priority for some text structures match the priority of the Droloth requests, which might actually have been overloading it with too many requests to iterate through. I would not actually be that surprised. So now we can just say that the only 105 requests at 105 priority Droloths should be theoretically better. And now we just need to open this up again. Getting these systemic issues that we have taken care of on the AI side is pretty important, obviously. Now that I don't have to worry nearly as much about stability, I can really focus in on that stuff. So. The Banished! That'll probably be a profane build later. Okay, we have Zorius Flood from General, Zerg, top left, top middle is, or top right, Skylord, Solar Escort. That's Empyrean, Solarian. Bottom right, we have Raider, 3 racks M&M. We saw this build earlier. That was fine. Bottom left, we have The Banished. So that's a general build. Okay. Let's see what these AI have in store for me. Looks like we got an expo going down. The double pylon. Always an interesting choice. Yeah, the jury's still out a little bit on the Protoss side of things. This guy, what is this? The Solar Escort definitely gets his expansion request too early. If he's going to open with Gateway, Forge, Double Gateway, and Stargate, that's already too much. So let's check that build. Solar Escort. We have... Oh yeah, the expansion comes right after a Gateway. That's pretty intense. And also doesn't seem very well paced, considering there's an Aquifer request right afterwards. Yeah, so basically this is another case where, because the expansion is in such a place where if I don't call it here, like, I guess if I don't call the Gateway, this is probably fine. And then I'll just add another safety 150 over here. And then everything should be fine. I guess we can do 150, 150, and then this will be 1 Gateway. Yeah, I think this should actually be much better. Even though they'll have less gateways, that's not really that important. Meanwhile, The deadly 2 Zethricore attack. Well, there's an extermination squad coming to handle that one. This is another build that doesn't appear to have actually bothered. It's handled its business. It gets there is a gateway request right here. Interestingly enough, but they didn't get it for a long time. Or if they did, they lost the units, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. I guess I should have paid a little bit closer attention to that. I didn't think that was going to be a problematic fucking build. This is a pretty active Terran player, though. Even just off of 2 racks right now, he's got an expansion, and he's got multiple... He's got presence on both sides of the map, which is pretty important. Unfortunately, the Sunken Colony is in the main and not the natural here, but... it's probably something I have to try and fiddle with the timing of. Or the priority. Yeah, the number of Mavericks that are still alive here, pretty devastating. All would have changed with a single Sunken, most likely. So that was pretty crippling, actually. All of his forces are down there. It's pretty funny. Yeah, don't worry. It's just my fucking expansion under attack. Now, notably, this guy actually doesn't have a 3rd Rax, even though this is supposed to be 3 Rax M&M. He did a pretty good job with his early attack force, but because he only has 2 racks, he doesn't have that many units. Like, he's got enough for 1 attack force, but even then it would be pretty underwhelming. I wonder why he doesn't have his 3rd racks. I guess he's going to build it now, but... no, it's a treasury. What the fuck? He's got the 3rd barracks request. I don't know why they sometimes have it twice. That doesn't really make sense to me. Eggshell blue and Maya blue are pretty close. I guess the eggshell is a bit darker, so maybe it's fine. They definitely have different minimap colors, at least. That's good. Get Achmeded. Don't worry, Photon Cannon. We didn't need you or anything. I like how kiting away actually got one of those Mavericks killed because he ran out of the cleric healing. Although he might have died anyway, but it's just funny to think that, like, I'm gonna kite. This is pretty bad. Mostly the mining time, since his natural's dead. This one was not as competitive, but I understand why. A lot of it was due to the Protoss being dumb. I think I smoothed out the issue with this build already, so I don't have to worry about that as much. Although this guy does seem to have like a very worryingly low number of structures. But he doesn't have that many minerals, interestingly. All of his minerals are missing. He's got the Fleet Beacon. He has the Cosmic Altar request, which I guess he'll probably spend pretty soon. He's nearing the amount of money required. Yeah, I think a lot of this is just down to expansion timings. And smoothing those out is a tiresome process of doing it over and over again, but... like, working over and over again, but... You got to do what you got to do. Meanwhile, this is like the most hilarious fucking idea for a base I've ever seen in my life. How has he snuck past and taken this base? And then why? It's actually pretty genius if he goes undetected, because then he can knight us it. But that's fucking funny. Protoss put too many scribes in his gas. What, this guy? He's got one more than is necessary on both, yeah. I can't control that, obviously. A single Vorvrikor attacks the Comsat station to death. Don't worry, you don't need that. I mean, unironically, actually, because yeah, there is no need now that I think about it. Whatever, it's okay. Rebuild it. Oh, shit, VR password. Pretty good stuff there. So this guy's got all this stuff, but no Argosy. Pretty good. I think a lot of it is destabilization, dude. They just, like, the scripts are not exactly written in such a way where if they fuck up the timing, it used to be a bit safer in that regard, I feel like, but maybe it's also like the timing of certain things. Why do they even? Oh, this is the banished. This is a different build. I was like, what the fuck? Why do they even have it? Yeah, that is kind of a problem, is if it's just one unit and it walks through here, like you just saw every worker abandon the mining to start trying to chase it down. That was pretty bad, actually. Like, you could easily abuse that. I guess it should be only like using a couple if it's just like a single unit or something. I don't know. It's hard to define rules that would always work there. You'd have to evaluate threat, which is difficult to do. Get kited, idiot. Like in that case, I guess I don't mind it, even though they definitely don't need the Droleths to help out to kill that unit. At least it like gets it killed sooner. So there's that. Oh, okay. This is the Zerg version of I spit on your grave. I morph in your face. Hi. There we go. He's finally getting production structures so that he can use his tech. Jesus. What a guy. I like how the Banished don't use... They spam Hierophants, which are like a noble unit, and they don't use prostration stages. I don't think I updated this build. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. They don't have a preference for... I guess they don't have a preference for anything, so they just default to... Oh, no, they do. They have a standard Drakiden preference. I don't know. Nom. At least this red player is building a lot of expansions, man. Are we finally going to see... Oh, they're all lighting up, so that's nice. Well, maybe not all of them, but... I like how the sheer number of pylons this guy is building. He almost can't keep up with his high tier units now. I see you felt like you needed a couple extra tech structures there, Zergy. Even though it's stupid, it's better than not ever building them, so what the fuck ever, man. It's interesting that they didn't even bother building gas over here. Does this build somehow never... What build order was this? Well, listen, don't fucking get ahead of yourself. The green Terrans are working fine, it's just that they got fucked because they're in the front line. Saurius Flood. I think I actually know Zorkiz Flood now. I think I know what happened here. Oh no. I don't know what happened here then. Did they never build the Zorkiz Shroud? The Zorkiz Flood build never built the Zorkiz Shroud. Literally the structure that they need. Why? I guess this might be an example where I should have the tech structures at just one extra priority above other things that also have the same priority. I feel like I've seen this issue before, actually, where if there's a ton of requests at the same exact priority level, a lot of them just don't ever get resolved. So maybe this is the case where I should be a bit more choosy. Don't know. Well, they failed to build a third barracks because the expansion got attacked very early on, I'm assuming. Although, I guess they still don't have the third barracks. So, yeah. I don't know why the fuck that would happen. That doesn't really make any sense. It's not... I'll take a look at it again, but... It's not like the request is some... insane thing. Maybe I'll spot something suspicious when I look at it later. Oh, again, I think it's just if they're all the same priority, then they just get bundled together and the recycler doesn't do its job correctly. The tech structures are the same priority currently as the creep colonies, which is probably an issue, actually. Although, well, I actually don't know if this is the case. Wait, larval only gets called like once, so this might not be correct. good one. I don't ever call that, but why? Yeah, it is the same priority. All right. So I've restructured a lot of that code. Tab back in and I see some fucking magisters is what I see, Jesus. See that now he's doing stuff. Now he's got argosies. A ton of them. I'm not seeing any/many Solarians, but he's got argosies. And he has a fleet beacon, doesn't he? Because he built the tech in a ridiculous order. I mean, it's a bug in the logic of the recycler, but I guess a limitation might be a better way to describe it. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's lame. Now let me look at barrack. They even stopped themselves from building more workers. So I don't really know what could possibly be the cause of this one. They get the engineering bay request. They stop building workers, and maybe this is like a case where it just needs like a slight bit of time to process that request. I guess they queue the cleric way too soon. It's probably a holdover for when we had like yeah. That's my thought process anyway. It's probably a holdover. All right. Yeah, I don't know why that build did, because it didn't do that the other time. It's not like it's a consistent issue, so. I don't remember. I think I did fix some stuff in this. So. There you go. All right. Do one more, and then we'll probably call it. All right, we have 2 Atlakizalisk Assault. That's top left. Top right, we have Strider, Fast Expand, another general Protoss build. Bottom right is Barracks Supply for a general Terran build. And bottom left is Templar, 2-gate Kabbalist. That probably needs to be changed because they get trained from prostration stages now. I don't know. I don't remember what I actually updated for this. They do actually build prostration stages and 2 gates. So I guess they live up to their fucking reputation. And then they go for Grand Libraries by the looks of things. Japanese Violet. I thought that might have been Vivid Red. Cornflower Blue. Tomato. Tomato is in my cast over, I think. I wonder if the forge requests are a bit early in some of these, because I intended it for it to be a very early staple of Protoss play, but maybe leaving it up to explicit requests in every build order would be better than having the generic one at like a minute 30, because it's probably not that universal. And it is a pricey structure. Nice early push for a couple of infantry units, nothing massive. He's going to expand off the back of this and hope for it to destabilize his opponent, who actually, this is a very early attack. This is probably one of the earliest attacks in the game for the AI, which is pretty interesting. And he's actually going to charge right into the main by the looks of things. It looks like the Hydrox then will finish because he's giving a couple more Mavericks time to mass up. But that should still be pretty effective by the looks of things. It's a classic where he had money and then he spent it. Idiot. Well, if you're going to get another Nexus, then you're going to have more scribe production anyway. Unless you mean it's good to like throw down on in the expansion, in which case, yeah, I can see what you're talking about. Ah, he pivoted. Yeah, that's going to be pretty bad. He's already killed, what, 5 Droliths? Maybe only 4. Couple Hydras. Okay. That's actually way less damage than I thought was going to happen as a result of that. What's up, Pars 1v1v? Or 1vLv? I guess you're talking about when I was actually playing at some point. Just played the game for a long time. Studied the professional meta. Mostly to see techniques, not to... because I'm working in a custom game state, so... There's like new units and stuff. Oh, I missed this. This is pretty intense. This is kind of impressive that they've been able to do any sort of damage with that attack. It's literally 4 units. Right, yeah, I see what you mean. Whew. Animation cancel. Disaster has struck our cornflower blue Terrans. What's our 2-gate Kabbalist guy doing? He went Robotics Authority? Wait, what? It says it's Templar build 2, or build 3, which is what it is. That's fucking weird. Ownage. Ah, he's even got the low HP one in the back. Wow, very clever. Fuck him up. A non-Veek AI would have probably lost a Dracodon to those Masons. Ooh, close. Yeah, I think this guy's dead. I'll look into improving this build in a moment. I have no idea why this one happened, though. This one looks like maybe he went through the build order too fast and didn't wait for the prostration stage. Yeah, he's got that prostration stage request, but he probably didn't wait for enough money or something. Maybe it's another one of those cases where like the expansion timing is fucking him up. Oh, see you later, homie. I will screenshot your demise to tell my children about. Meanwhile, third base. No help from his ally, of course. That motherfucker didn't even listen to his own build order. You think he's going to listen to his ally? Bye. But this Zerg player seems okay overall. I'm seeing a Vithrath Haunt, which is pretty nice. This is supposed to be a Lakizalisk build, though, so I'm waiting for the Zorkish Shroud. And it's kind of... Well, he seems to be a bit low on money because he can't expand this yet, but... That definitely should have happened already. Let's see what his request pool looks like. Hatch sunken. Oh. And now he's back to Droleths. Larval. "13 creep colony requests. I don't see too many creep colonies, homie. There's really nothing that should be a higher priority than that, though. This is kind of weird. I guess besides the tech structures, which he's obviously not fucking doing anyway, so... Somehow a hatchery request was higher. That makes me think it's an expansion. Oh, he's got one he's planned to do over here. That's why. Because the expansion requests are indeed higher priority than the normal hatchery requests. So I guess that could make sense, but he had so much money, so he could have done that any time. And he just spent a bunch of money. It does look as if the AI just disregards the local jump for Droleths or something. In some cases. Let me look at the expansion stuff, though. Maybe that's why. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Because he's still getting workers. He's got 35 out of 24. Like, he doesn't need that many. And he only ever has 24 queued workers in the first place. Did he ever get the Zorkish Shroud? He did upgrade the Lever Pond. We're seeing, at least anecdotally in this one case, we're seeing them upgrade their structures more frequently if they have the request for them. It's just that the lack of a Zorkish Shroud doesn't really make sense to me. Particularly since the Matravel Nest has the same priority as the Zorkish Shroud. So why would he run up with an issue there? And I'm also wondering why he's getting stuck on the Creep Colony requests. It might be that the Droleth requests are still too high in priority at 105. I guess I could try giving them 101, which would be slightly lower. Maybe I could do that in the expansion only. The thing is, these aren't conventional requests. They're just queued as long as they have larvae and are beneath the local count. I don't really know why there would be any issues, to be honest. Larval colonies had the same priority as that, which might have been why, but I doubt it. Anyway, they might be handled through the same functionality, so we'll try that. All right. Now, the other thing that I wanted to do is take a look at the... I don't know why the 2-gate Kabbalist build would get robotics. It does prefer the authority production. So I guess it is just the fact that, like, there's not a big enough weight between some of these things. So I guess we could do a weight 600 here. Or no, we should probably even double that. So we should go to 750. And then we should probably wait 150 before the Grand Library request. And then 300 there. And hopefully the improvement in pacing there helps that build out. BBS. I don't know why we have this. All right, that should improve that build as well. So, okay, we've managed to iron out some issues. Hopefully fix up some stuff related to Zerg. I'll have to do some more testing a little bit later on. For now, I guess I'll just say AI work from 30 June 2021 Modstream. All right. So that is going to do it for our stream today. Looking pretty good, looking better. Every single time I iterated through that stuff, things got a little bit better. And while I can't lie and say that I'm like elated, because obviously I'd be elated if we had fixed all of the issues with Zerg stuff specifically. It seems like we're on the promising track, on the right road to fixing everything up. So I'm looking forward to making it even better. For now, I will be leaving you guys. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out for the 2 hours that we spent together today working on AI. And I'll be back some point later on. I might stream tomorrow, but if not, there will definitely be a couple of streams this week where I work on AI in the same way that I have. Just even if it's only for 2 hours like this one was, where I'm just sort of grinding through it and trying to get as many updates as possible done to the AI ahead of Fraudarchy later this week, I guess. So early Sunday or early next week. So that's it. Big smooches and bye.